All right, guys, I am taking you all on my journey. So this is what I generally do on the weekends is I analyze the week. So I'm going to start just creating videos. And I'm going to go ahead and share screen now and tell you guys or explain to you guys what I see. Okay, so as soon as I pop up, the first thing I see is this beautiful W forming right here. There is a lot of barriers with this as well, though. You can see here that in August, the last time it got up here, it kind of hit above this level, which was at 410, rejected, came all the way down, then came up, hit this 407, rejected, came down, hit 410, bam, came down again. But this time when it came down, it created a higher low. You see this low here, you see this higher low. So what it did during this time is it created a pattern here on the daily. Busting above this 200 MA and staying above is going to be a big deal. Because if we burst through this 200 MA, get here to this 410, and we can consolidate between these levels, that's going to show us signs that we want to break above this 410. We've been rejecting this 410 for several months now. And I'll show you guys this in a few minutes. But I wanted to touch bases on last week. So these three candles here represented Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Okay. So this was the candle on the Friday that, not the Friday that passed, but the previous Friday. And you can see this was a breakout candle. We had about 12 or 13 days of consolidation here. And then we broke out on Friday. We had a really good day. I know you guys all remember that day here. So then we broke out and we created kind of a small bullish flag here, but we're so strong that we just broke. I didn't expect to break above this 393 so quickly, but I knew that the bulls were creeping in. I knew that there was a lot of strength. If you go back to my previous videos for the week, you can see here in my caps where I'm telling you guys there's strength, but just, to be careful. But I understand that when the bulls come in, they can come in pretty tough. And that's kind of what's happening right now. So we broke above this 393 here, and we've been consolidating here for the last 3 days. So Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And as you can see here, once we get to the 393.14, which is now new support, because it broke above, stayed above. So now it's new support. And you can see here, I have my lines drawn, which this is support, resistance. Once this breaks, this would be the new resistance. But either way, so we're here still. So as we get to the close of the 399, we pull back, we come to 393, 393 holds, then we come up to 399 again. So we could definitely be creating this, this bullish flag here on the daily, where we could consolidate on this in this level for a couple of days before we break through. We could just break if there's a massive amount of strength like it was here. You see this big candle here, and then 2 days of consolidation, then bam, third day we get above, right? So now we're above, 2 days of consolidation. It's the weekend now. We could consolidate between these levels here, or we could just burst above, just depending on the strength. I still think we're gonna consolidate. I don't, even though the bulls are very strong right now, I know how strong this level is. I know how significant this level is. So it would only make sense if we're going to have like a healthy trend going up for us to consolidate for some time, because these lower time frames have to go back into an oversold position. So that way we can have more momentum. I mean, we do have a lot of momentum. I mean, this is strong. I mean, coming here, getting above 88, coming down, and then coming back up again. This is pretty tough on the 4 hour here. Let's look at the 1 hour. 1 hour did create some momentum when it came down. This was the pullback here. But I still think some more consolidation needs to happen between this level and this level before a breakout. That's just my opinion. But again, we're so strong that like I would not be surprised if we just went and broke this 399 level. That's how strong we are. And I'm going to show you, also on other time frames why I think that we're so strong. Okay, so this is the weekly here. I've already kind of went over this prior. With the weekly, I see a lot of strength in the weekly. We're starting to hit above 50. We got this low here, higher low, even higher low, curving up. So it's these candles here that is like, oh shit, the bulls is coming in. Like they're coming in pretty strong here. So you can kind of see this double bottom right here, potentially forming. You can see this lower high here, which is at the 200 MA. This is, I'm sorry, this higher low. You can see this low here, and then you can see it higher here, and then here. Okay, so this is where we're at right now, 399. Okay, you can see here that this is a pretty tough resistance. Right here. You can see here that they had this big burst here, right? And then it closed right here. And then you had this doji that was formed. This doji, it could represent two things. It could be a continuation of trend, which is what it did, or it could be a reversal because it's at resistance. But this doji represented a continuation of trend. But this doji was created. It closed a little bit below this area here. But then the following week, we broke above, right? And then, you know, we had, as you guys remember, until we got to 410, then we came down. But either way, we're coming back up on this level again. We know this 400 is pretty tough here. And then the next area that's very strong is coming up on 406, which would be your next resistance on the daily if we break above this 400. But this is the strength, guys. This is the strength that I see. And I knew we were kind of fighting for direction because I do hold a pre-market show around 8 a.m. And I'm live. So there's a lot of, back and forth discussions with the members and myself. And I was telling my team that these two dojis, I was not sure on how we were going to play out if we were going to hold this area because we were at a significant support area, but these two dojis represented either a continuation of trend, which it would go this way, or a reversal. So in this case, these dojis here, it represented a reversal. I got my confirmation when we closed last Friday, and I seen that we closed above this 200 MA with this hammer and some buying pressure here. So that already showed me that the bulls pretty much won in this area here. So now last week we have this big candle that formed, but we are on a resistance area. So we have to be careful. But because the strength is like the magnitude is so high right now, we could hit this 406 or 407-ish area before an actual real pullback comes. But right now we're consolidating on the daily. And you could see here we've been consolidating the last 2 days between right here at this level here, this 393. You can see here 393, 398, 393, and then we hit a high here of like close to 399. Let's see, you can't really see much on the weekend here. We definitely hit a high of 399.1. So we're very strong right now, very, very strong. I would like to see how we open up pre-market on Monday. If we open up above this 398.7, more than likely we'll probably have a good week and burst through. But once we hit, this level up here of like 406-ish, you have to be, this is definitely going to be pullback area. Here is cautious. You definitely want to be cautious around here. But I can see that there's still strength. But once we get up here, it's definitely going to be like, hold up, hold up, because there is a potential for a major rejection. Here too, you can see how in this between this level that we're in right now, which is 393.6 and 398.2, close to 399, we consolidated for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Well, a lot of like 7 days here, broke out, came back down. Held up, came back down, consolidated for another week, came back up before we fell all the way. With this level between 393 and 399, this is a pretty tough area. You can see all the consolidation here, right here in this area. You can see all the consolidation here, around this area. So that's why I wouldn't be surprised if we do consolidate for a couple more days in this area. But like I said, if we open up above this 399 level, closer to where this 200 MA is, we could potentially burst up to the next resistance. Because bulls are so strong right now, it's not like, I would not be surprised. But I would like to see more consolidation here, because if we have more consolidation here, we can, our lower time frames will go more into an oversold position, and then we can have enough momentum to ride further up for a longer period. So it's kind of like creating stamina. If we burst open right now, once we get to like 406, 407, there could be a hard pullback. So yeah, you're definitely going to have to really, really like be careful in this area, because you can see here, the last time we hit over here, hard pullback all the way to 393. When we kind of hit here, hard pullback, came back down to all the way to 378-ish. So, you know, we got to be careful. But the longer we consolidate between these two zones, this 4 hour will be able to create enough momentum to maybe come here in the middle. And then once it's ready to take off, it'll have enough momentum to burst. And that way we can get out of this range. And this is really what I'm waiting on, is when can we end this consolidation here that we've been kind of developing on the monthly. So this is the monthly chart here. So we got the top here, which is about 410.5, and we got the bottom here, which is around 370 here, 6.17. So 376.17. And you could see here in the month of September, we kind of had a fake out where we fell below and closed. A lot of people were getting scared, like, oh shit, it's time for new lows. You know, we're going to go down, right? But then in the month of October, we picked it back up and closed back above this 376 level. So if you look here, now we're looking at the monthly chart. So we're looking at each candle from a monthly perspective now, okay? When we were on the weekly chart, each candle represented a week. On a daily chart, each candle represents one day. Now, they're all connected, but of course, each time frame, you look at it like each of them have their own personality. So you're not looking for the same characteristic traits in each of the time frames, but you're looking to show that they all connect, okay? So if you see here for the 410-ish area here, every time we get to the top, we go back to the bottom. Every time we get to the bottom, we go back to the top. To the top, back to the bottom. And then back to the top. Get to the top, back to the bottom. So now this is where we're at currently, right? So we started here at the bottom. Now we're on our way back to the top. At some point, this area has to break. We need to break this area here. So if we can break above this 410 area, 412-ish area, have a full break, close the month of January above this level, and have a full breakout, and this level now becomes new support and not resistance, that's a good sign that we want to head up. So that's why I said, you know, bulls are pretty strong right now. So if we can break above this 409 level and close in the month of January above like 412, that's going to be signs that we want to keep driving forward. I already see little signs here with this slow RSI. You can see previous when we hit 479, and that was our high. We were freaking overbought here. This is the slow RSI. I just used a regular default, right? We're overbought here. We pull back at 479. We come to the bottom. We stay. We're a little weak over here. I mean, we've been pulling back almost a year and a half. Now we're coming up in some strength here. And when we start pointing up and creating higher lows, that's signaling strength is coming in. So that's why I'm like, you know what, I'm ready to bust through, because if we can bust through and 410 will become new support, then that's indications that we want to continue to keep moving forward. And that's where we want to head, right? And as an options trader, it really doesn't matter if we fall below 375 and take it down to 330. I just want to know, where is the direction? Are we going to break below 375 and close below 375, take it down to 330? Are we going to break above 410, and then 410 becomes new support on the monthly, and we make our way up? Just let's for me, it's just like we need direction, right? But as of right now, we're mid-January. We've kind of been on this roller coaster ride here. You can see here, this is the weekly chart. For the last couple of weeks, we've been really on a roller coaster. And once we break above this level, then, you know, we'll have indications to go forward. But until now, we're still zoning in between these levels here. But there is indication that strength is coming. So I like that. I like the candle that we closed in last week, and I still feel that we're heading up. We just have to deal with the small pullbacks day to day. Because remember, when I analyze, I'm analyzing day to day. Okay, what is the potential candle for the day? So I want you all to be prepared where the direction is at for the day. But overall, and I say this in my little post, is we are very strong. Bulls are dominating right now. That's what I can tell you. I feel the strength in the market. I see all of the bullish patterns forming. We're moving up the way we should move in, creating higher lows. All right. So I would like to see us break 410, which I'm not going to be in any positions to find out though. I tell you that right now. You know, my automatic sell limits are set at 408. Not playing. But if we can push past the 410 level for the month of January and it become new support, that is going to be a good look for us going forward. Okay. All right. So that's kind of where we're at now with SPY. Let's take a look at Apple because I like to use Apple to confirm with what I see in SPY. So as you see here, I have my zones drawn out for Apple. So this 124.17 is no longer support. That is no longer support. Support now is 130.16, which I knew here when we held 130, when we held the 130-ish area, it was good signs that we wanted to, you know, keep moving up forward, up, you know, higher. Now, this is a tough resistance here for Apple as well, this 135-ish area. But again, we're at a very significant resistance on SPY as well. So if SPY breaks above the 400, Apple's gone too. And you can see how this is very tough, this 135-ish, because you can see we held here, this 135-ish area for quite some time. I mean, look here. So this is where we took off back in July, around the 135-ish area, had that big move up. Y'all remember that when Apple was just going and going and going, right? And then we came back all the way down, pulled back to the 135-ish area. And look at this big ass candle that was created on that day. This is a demand zone. So this was definitely institutional money. So a lot of automated orders popped off right here, okay? And then you see, came all the way up, rejected the 200 MA, came back down to 135. So guess what? 135 now is resistance. So 135 is tough, is a pretty tough area to break above this wall with Apple. But again, generally they follow SPY. So if SPY breaks the 400, Apple is typically going with them. So now what I did was I took away that support because at 124, because that doesn't do me any justice now, because remember, support and resistance recalculates as the market moves. So if we're recalculating support and resistance for our day-to-day trades, the 124 is not going to do us any justice because we're probably not going to get down to 124 in a day. If anything, this is your new support now, which is 130, right? I see where we are with Apple. So we hit a high of 134.92. We're still below this wall here. If we stay below this wall, this is still your resistance wall here. Let's get the lower time frames. Yeah, you can see we're above the 200 MA on the 1 hour, which represents a lot of strength here. 4 hour, we're still into like overbought, coming up on the 200 MA up here. Yeah, we're pretty strong here in the market. Let's take a look. So Apple is aligning with SPY. As you see, they're heading up. You can see they're at a very significant resistance too. So, you know, be cautious. Be cautious. That 135 held support for a very long time. So now it's new resistance and we're day-to-day trading right now. So it could take a couple days. It could take a couple weeks approximately to break above this 134 wall. Right? It just depends on how strong the bulls are, how strong they come in. Are they coming in with, you know, 100 men to burst open that ceiling, or do they got about 2 or 3 men that's, you know, working hard trying to burst open that ceiling? If it's about 2 to 3 men, then it's going to take about 2 weeks or so to burst open that ceiling. If it's 100 men coming in there and they got the axe at one time, they're going to burst through that ceiling in 24, 48 hours, right? So that's how you have to look at it. What is the strength like? Because volume plays is just as important as price action. Okay, so let's take a look at SQQQ here and see how they did for the week. Okay, so yeah, SQQQ is trash, but they are oversold though. They are oversold. But you can see here on the daily, they fell below this bullish pattern that they created. And I knew that once they fell below the bottom of this flag, they were done. They were done. They couldn't even hold this support at 49.6. Then once they fell below this support, then they ended up falling below the 200 MA. They hit this support here at 46.2. They're still pointing down. So SQQQ is very weak. And remember, SQQQ is just inverse of QQQ. So whatever is happening with SQQQ, equities is doing the opposite. SPY is doing the opposite. So if I see all this strength in SPY, I need to see SQQQ looking horrible. That's showing me that I'm, analyzing correctly and that we are on the right path. Now, remember, we are analysts. We are not psychics. So we can't tell you if it's exactly going to happen this way, but what we can do is speculate how we're moving based on previous history and based on where we are now, depending on the signs that we see. So for next week, we may have a little bit of stagnant energy in the market because we're at significant levels. We're so strong. I don't think we're going to have a crazy pullback to where we hit our lows of 375 again, or we go all the way back down to 378. I don't think we're going to hit that low. But I think there may be some consolidation just depending on, the volume next week. But overall, the bulls are killing it. The bulls are killing it. I would like to see us get above 410. For the month of January and close above that level and then have a nice breakout and then come back down, test 410 as new support, because that would be your new entry at that point. And that'll be just the tables turning and us getting out of the stagnant energy here that we've been in for the last, several months here. And we can actually count it together here. So, this was a doji. Remember, guys, I said this in the beginning. When a doji is formed at resistance or at support, it can mean two things. It's either a continuation or it's a reversal. So in this case, it was a continuation because you're seeing that the next candle was red. But anyway, we've been consolidating here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 months. We've been consolidating between the 375-ish and the 410-ish area for 9 months. Okay. Generally, these consolidation periods can take place and form approximately 8 to 11 candles, sometimes more, as you see here on SPY for this daily here. When we were consolidating, this was 13 days. This was, I think it was 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13th was the breakout. Okay, so it consolidated for 12 days before it broke out. Here, these have been consolidating for 9 months. And we haven't even completed this month. But this goes to tell you is that we don't know exactly when this breakout can occur. We just know on average, it's about 8 to 11 candles. It could be more. It could be less. Okay. But we're just looking at the average. Even before this consolidation of approximately 9 months, we were pulling back 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is what, 13? This is about 13 months altogether. Let me see, hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 months of pulling back, 9 months of consolidating between these patterns here. So this is the candle that we have formed so far, and we are in mid-January. Okay, so by the end of January into February, our goal is to close above this level. If not, we will reject here and just head all the way back down. Remember, we're only on our 9th month right now. So even if we consolidate 10, 11, 12 more months, that's just what it is. We can't control the market. We can just identify the zones and follow where we currently are. So that's where we're at right now. And remember, we analyze SPY because most of the market follows SPY. A lot of the stocks follow SPY. So it's good to know where SPY is at all times. But that's pretty much where we are currently. So I know that we're pretty much heading back up. If you guys were taking positions down here, anticipating it to come back up here, congratulations. If you took any positions up here, expecting the rejection and getting out around here, congratulations. But that's what we've been doing for the last 9 months here. Getting in here on puts, getting out here, taking calls, getting out here, because that's the period that we're in. We're in a consolidation period, okay? But other than that, I hope this helps you guys. And this is kind of like my overall analysis for the week. And I'm looking forward to next week to see if we can keep this strength up with the bulls here. All right, guys, you all have a good weekend.